Mm.
So, hi guys, I'm Nitin. This is Ajit. So this is the first episode of our the Sleep podcast, and in the first episode, we're going to talk about the various work-life balance issues and things like that. We are mainly taking this topic because we have been recently seeing many kind of news reports regarding employees quitting their job or even people passing away due to
Mm.
really strenuous work and life imbalances. So the current world that we live in, like we have seen that people are pushing the employees or youngsters or freshers who come into the corporate life to work even harder. That is like beyond human limits,
Mhm.
right? So basically, work-life harmony or balance basically means to have a good harmony between work and life.
Mm.
That's it. Is you have to have your own space for work, your own time for working,
Mhm.
and also have your time for your own personal life.
Mm.
Right. It's not just about focusing and giving everything to work, even though there is this hustle culture right now where people are like forcing themselves to just start working like crazy. Like the amount of hours you work doesn't always mean you're being productive all the time.
Mm.
Like you can be working for 10 hours a day, 20 or 10 to 12 hours a day, but still that doesn't mean you're doing productive work.
Mm.
You can work for 4 hours and do almost double the productivity.
Mhm.
It's not about just doing the number of hours.
Mm.
In fact, it should be about amount of productive work that you're doing,
Mm.
is what I'm understanding.
Mm.
So basically, work-life balance or work-life harmony is having this kind of understanding about how much work I should do
Mm.
and how much time I should take for myself. Like, what is my personal life? What are
Mm.
my interests, my hobbies,
Mm.
my family,
Mm.
and of course, sleep and recovery. These are the main things that we are trying to cover here.
Mhm.
So about work-life balance and the recent cases, some few case studies that we have come across regarding employee well-being, some cases regarding the recent corporate life issues in regard to some specific employees, and also regarding this big case study recently done by WHO on Japan too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So mostly in work-life balance and all, we can see it's about the work and life. So in today's culture, we have mostly noticed that the main focus is being given to work rather than to life. And many influencers are trying to rectify it to give more focus on life rather than work. We know that humans usually live about what, about 60 to 80 years nowadays, and spending about 40 years to work only and not spending other for their own life is somewhat like being machine rather than being human.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, so like in recent reports, right, there are many reports that we have come across, you cross-check many statistics and things like that.
hmm,
Now that 66% of Indian employees are saying that they guaranteedly say that they are basically overworked.
hmm,
And 70% of employees experience stress due to unbalanced work-life,
hmm,
you know, balance. So basically, 66% of Indian employees are having this issue with overworking.
hmm,
So that means like even in the factories or the Factories Act 1948, I believe,
hmm.
says that around 9 hours per day is a maximum limit a labor can work,
Okay.
which I think accounts to around 48 hours per week.
Hmm,
But people are actually forcing to have like 50 hours plus,
hmm,
hours of working.
hmm,
Even, Narayana Murthy, this chairman of Infosys, actually asking the freshers to work around
hmm,
70 hours week. That is
hmm,
purely inhuman to go up to that levels to just boost their corporate, to grow their business, and they're just caring about their corporate level
hmm,
growth rather than the employees' well-being,
hmm,
right? And so, what does this amount of stress does to a human, or what does it do to the human body?
hmm,
Is something that we should actually look into. Like there are many studies that people have been
hmm,
doing, many researchers have been done into this,
hmm,
and like we can clearly see the psychological and physiological changes that
hmm,
people go through
hmm,
when they get under this kind of stress for a long period of
hmm,
time.
hmm.
Yeah.
Psychological stress in ancient time and all, people used to work for their belly. Now people are working for what? Pleasure? I don't know. But is work is all that necessary, or having some time for ourselves is also a sort of necessity? I don't know, but having to work for more than 8 hours is already beyond the human capacity. It's way beyond, and many results are showing that people are having high number of diseases like such as heart attack, obesity, stress attack. So
mm.
these type of diseases are becoming prevalent. Is that a question that some sort of system is working where people have to get sick because of work and they have to pay the money they are getting from the work and then they have to retire? Is that the correct way to live? I'm not sure.
Regarding the different kinds of stress hormones and everything that releases during the period you're under this kind of high stress or high work environment. Mainly, there are mainly two kind of hormones that are coming, like epinephrine and norepinephrine.
Hmm.
So these are like hormones that are produced in your body when you're in a flight or fight reaction, right?
Hmm.
That's the situation that you're in, and your body is constantly under this pressure of meeting targets
Hmm.
or like submitting reports.
Hmm.
So when your body produces these kind of hormones in a higher amount than normal,
Hmm.
what happens is that you basically become sleepless,
Hmm.
right? It affects your sleep cycle
Hmm.
and ruins your entire balance in your metabolic balance and things like that.
Hmm.
So when you have that kind of poor quality of sleep,
Hmm.
or you're not getting that kind of recovery that you need
Hmm.
from all this kind of work stress, right?
Hmm.
Basically, all this work stress is giving you all kinds of hormonal imbalances and things like that,
Hmm.
that causes you to sleep less.
Hmm.
And when you sleep less, it's directly will come into the productivity part,
Hmm.
because the less sleep you get, the less productive you are.
Okay.
Which is like a common sense. Like we all know that adults need to get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep.
Hmm.
That's like a status quo. We know that.
Hmm.
But people just overlook that, right? They just care about like hustle culture, to
Hmm.
work till they die. In Japan, basically there was this cases of where people used to literally work themselves to death.
Hmm.
Like that was there. I think Ajit has heard about it, right?
Yeah, I have heard about it. People are too much pressured because of the social structure in Japan, where they have to follow a certain system of, I guess, about like work in corporate world is like serving the family. They have to treat themselves as they are the family members, and you are working for the family rather than their own family. So in a way that is like pressuring them to do more than what they are capable of, or
Mm.
rather saying that what mentally they are capable of, like are they capable physically, are they
Mm.
gaining that much amount of rest, or are they gaining that much amount of sleep time, or like pleasure time. It could be said like that also. So that is one of the difficulties Japanese are facing. I don't know what about the Indians.
So there was a recent study, or you can say a study started around 1950, 1980s actually.
Hmm.
And this is conducted by WHO,
Hmm.
the World Health Organization, and also the
Hmm.
International Labor Organization, right?
Hmm.
So they did a study on basically Japanese people, but they found out very soon that it was actually a global phenomenon.
Hmm.
It was named Karoshi syndrome, right? It basically translates to death by overwork.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they were stating about the individuals who literally die due to overworking,
Hmm.
and the numbers almost approximately came in 2021
Hmm.
to around 750,000 deaths
Hmm.
globally. Like
Globally, okay.
that's almost close to a million deaths
Okay.
just by overworking.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that result says how much this chronic levels of fatigue and
Hmm.
all this kind of performing in a high stress level environment
Hmm.
causes what it does to your body,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
like what it ends in, right?
Hmm.
Like they are working themselves to death.
That okay.
And what do corporates gain from that? Like the freshers they come there, the managers are trying to put, unachievable targets or deadlines, and
Hmm.
they're forced to work
Hmm.
till they literally pass out, quit, or they die. That is the actual, instance that we're talking about, like
Hmm.
the actual present
Hmm.
conditions. So what I want to actually bring awareness into is the fact that, how this is affecting us
Hmm.
in like a, physiological way,
Hmm.
psychological way,
Hmm.
and like even a spiritual way, I would say.
Okay.
You get stressed from work so much that you don't have time or you don't have energy for anything else.
Hmm.
Right? Your family, your friends, your own health,
Hmm.
your own well-being, you don't care.
Hmm.
All you care about is just meeting the target.
Hmm.
Right? So even I have like had personal experience of family members who literally work so much, they get very less sleep.
Hmm.
They go into like any kind of like disease like cardiovascular
Hmm.
or any kind of like something like heart attacks, strokes,
Hmm.
anxiety, depression, many things happens
Hmm.
just because they don't get enough sleep or
Hmm.
recovery.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they just they're on this kind of engine, right? They just keep running all the time. Even if it's an engine, that also need to take rest, right?
Correct.
We can't just keep going and keep going and keep piling up this tension in our body. We
Hmm.
need to be able to release it.
Hmm.
And for an average man, it is only through sleep that you get a proper recovery or rest. You can't fight against that. It's scientifically proven, like the amount of sleep you get directly correlates to your productivity, your
Hmm.
overall well-being,
Hmm.
your metabolism rates, your overall health,
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
Like if a person just focuses on this single factor that is sleep,
Hmm.
and then he's committed to it, and he regularly gets at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep,
Hmm.
like for years, I am pretty damn sure, like he will get rid of almost all the health risk he might be having, or any kind of any health issues he has
Hmm.
currently at this state.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because people just overlook this fact, right? They all, people when they care about health or wellness,
Hmm.
what they do is like they go on this whole trip about either going in a keto diet
Hmm.
or going to the gym,
Hmm.
getting a training schedule set in. They're trying to squeeze all this in,
Hmm.
so that they feel they're doing work to get this kind of
Hmm.
uh, time they're spending under high pressure. But
Okay.
in my opinion, it's like from my experience of working out and everything,
Hmm.
the more I work out doesn't necessarily mean I get the best out of it,
Hmm.
best performance or best physique in that sense.
Hmm.
What I understood is like the amount of work I do or workout I do in the gym is definitely a point, but
Hmm.
the more important factor comes into the diet
Hmm.
and also the recovery. I would say recovery is a huge part. Like people overlook that in every way.
Hmm.
If you're not getting enough sleep and if you're not getting enough rest for your muscles,
Hmm.
it's not going to grow. Similar way, your mind, your body, your soul, everything needs it,
Hmm.
right? It's not going to be like you working in your accounting job.
Hmm.
You sit in the same desk and you work for hours and hours.
Hmm.
Then you come back home and then like you're so dead. Like and after that also your manager calls you,
Hmm.
asks you work overnight
Hmm.
to keep a report on the morning.
Hmm.
Things like that always cause this kind of stress.
Hmm.
They're not having any proper sleep. They don't even eat well.
Hmm.
Probably people just after work just go and crash in their bed just as how they are dressed, like in
Hmm.
the uniforms. Probably.
Hmm. Hmm.
What it does is like it ruins their entire cycle, right?
Hmm.
And you're not even seeing them as humans, more of like employees or like just hired slaves, you can say. Just they're going to this cycle of rat race where they don't have this any end. They just keep running in the circles. Maybe one job to another, maybe one corporate to another, but they're in this cycle.
Hmm.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
So what I need to bring into light is like having that understanding that you need to clearly have work-life balance,
Hmm.
right? Otherwise, things are just going to go out of hand and it'll be too late for you to understand it. And when you understand it, like your health
Hmm.
and your well-being will be not in your reach.
Hmm.
Like, you cannot control it. So when you have that health, when you are young, you need to take this thing into consideration. Because we are not like just here for like a good life. You're going to a long life. You want to have a long life,
Hmm.
and that long life need to be a good life. Not just to like live short and then die fast or things like that. Yeah.
Good enough. But mostly, as modern humans and all, we have seen that without working, how can we take care of our family? What do you think about that? How to balance that? That is the question here. Do you think without working, a normal family can live in this world?
Of course, that's not even a question. Without working or without having a revenue income, no one is going to live in this world.
Hmm.
With the inflation rates and all the, stupid taxes that we're being charged and everything, we are never going to live in a situation where we cannot work and just hope to live.
Hmm.
We need to definitely work.
Hmm.
But it's about finding the work that you think you can do in the right way, in the right amount of time.
Hmm.
After that, you need to have that time. Even like there are many formulas like the 8-8-8 rule, where you have 8 hours of work, 8 hours of personal
Hmm.
time, 8 hours of sleep.
Hmm.
It's a really good theoretical rule, but we can never say that is exactly applicable to life because most of the time people are going for overtime works and things like that, right? So what we need to do is understand like you're categorizing life into these three segments
Hmm.
where there is work,
Hmm.
then there is family and personal time,
Hmm.
and sleep.
Okay.
If you take these three things into your most important factors and keep it like that, and then divide that hours that you have in your life, right?
Hmm.
I think you can pretty much overcome all these issues. Like you need to work to get that income, to make the money,
Hmm.
to have a normal life,
Hmm.
take care of your family and everything. After that, definitely you need to have
Hmm.
time to spend with your family because who are you making money for if you're not going to spend money with your like
Hmm.
spend time with your family, right?
Hmm.
You can make all the money in the world, but if they're not like when you made all the money and your family is not there after a point of time, like there's no use in making the money.
Hmm.
If you're making money, definitely that should be there. Along with the time that you need to spend the time that you can have right now, because later on maybe you may not have get the same time, right?
Hmm.
This time that you get right now is precious.
Hmm.
Like after 10 years, you're trying to look up to your mom and dad. I don't know how it's going to be. You don't know how their health is going to be,
Hmm.
what the living condition will be.
Hmm.
Whatever time you have right now, you need to be focusing. That's it. Like living the present is basically what I'm trying to say. Rather than focusing on something like building this kind of revenue or like savings account where you put piles of money into it, you build lakhs and then you get hit by a car, you die, you
Hmm.
get an accident. That's where does it all go? You don't take it with you, right?
Hmm.
So try to live in the present by, but be very mindful about it. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Hmm. Normally, I have seen that people uh, have said about sleeping about 4 hours and they are back to prime. I've seen some entrepreneurs, businessmen who are saying that even if they are sleeping for 4 hours, they are very good and they have the energy to do the work. And I have also seen that some of the entrepreneurs mentioning about sleeping about 6 hours is enough. And in scientific research and all, a average human needs to have 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and depends upon their body condition. Do you think that should there be some sort of standard sleep measure, or it should depend upon who the individual is?
My opinion, like depending on the individual, like what kind of work they are getting into, right?
Hmm.
If you're an entrepreneur, definitely you're not gonna get the right amount of sleep because you're handling things left, right, and center. That's like a different deal. When you're a businessman, someone like Elon Musk or let's say Jeff Bezos, they have been working like tirelessly for week on ends. They probably be working even more than 70 hours a week. So that is fine by their standards because that's the kind of work or that's the kind of empire that they're trying to build, right? They're trying to build a business empire. They're not trying to do a 9 to 5 job.
Hmm.
So the difference is like understanding like what you want to do, like what are you going to do in your life. So if you're an employee, definitely I would definitely recommend a standard for sleep. Like you should be getting this much amount of sleep. If I'm building my company and my employees are working there, I would actually try and implement something where my employees are getting like at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Hmm.
Otherwise, like I am almost guaranteed to not get any productive work or done out of them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. I cannot just pay them salaries and ask them to keep working like robots. Like
Hmm.
as long as I'm going to treat them as humans, I'm going to give them the right of sleep. As we all know, even we learned this in like the Maslow's hierarchy that in the most basic level, things that come down to is the food, shelter, sleep, and things like that.
Hmm.
Sleep is a very basic thing, so we cannot overlook it. Like thing is that people don't understand the importance of it. Is what I'm understanding, right?
Hmm.
Even in employer side or in business perspective, people don't care about sleep. But after a while,
Hmm.
when health goes down and things are not looking good, people just start to take care of it like
Hmm.
crazy. Like even they will, try to use things like sleeping pills and all that. Like
Hmm.
they'll just go in every direction to just get their health back in line.
Hmm.
And by then they'll have to like probably get used to taking pills and medications,
Hmm.
which is like I don't know, not desirable in my recommendations.
Hmm.
Like sleep is something that comes very basically to any like human being or any living creature, right?
Hmm.
So if we are breaking that kind of sleep cycle, that means we are going outside the laws of nature itself. We are pushing ourselves beyond that particular,
Hmm.
barrier
Hmm.
where our body is trying to match up or adapt to the condition that we're living in. And literally, I have literally been in a situation where I work so hard, and when I wake up, I feel this kind of shivering and things like that.
Hmm.
It's just like my body responding and saying that it needs more rest or
Hmm.
recovery time. Like that is what is literally saying to us. If we listen to our bodies, I think majority of the time we can just
Hmm.
cure most of the problems. But mainly we don't do it as Ajit has said due to family problems and we need to take care of the family responsibilities and things like that. We just push ourselves so that we can earn more,
Hmm.
we can take care of them better and things like that.
Hmm.
So regarding your question, definitely for employees, I would say there should be a standard time or standard set for sleeping and sleep quality, things like that, recovery,
Hmm.
leisure time, things like that. Definitely.
Is in India, what is it? But there was some sort of law, right? That there is like minimum amount of sleep a employee has to have, like labor law or something.
I didn't get you.
Uh,
Labor law. Yeah, as I mentioned before, in labor law, it says that it's basically in factories law, it says that about
hmm.
I think in 1948 that act was passed that says about having maximum 40 hours a week for an
Mm.
employee. So
Mm.
like maximum 9 hours of work day. And if an employee is staying for overwork, they usually get paid around 1.5 to 2 times the minimum wage or
Mm.
the wage they are hired for.
Mm.
That's like the basic rule that people follow right now. I don't know how many sectors or how many industries actually follow this,
Mm.
because Indian laws are there. There are many loopholes in there. Many sectors have different kind of
Mm.
subsections, and these rules might get deviated from there.
Mm.
But definitely there should be that standard, right? The
Mm.
person can work up to 8 hours or 9 hours of maximum.
Mm.
Beyond that, I think you're just taking away from their life.
Mm.
Like I don't think anyone needs to work that much if you're to be an employee.
Mm.
Is
Mm.
my opinion. Like to take into Google, Apple, all of these big
Mm.
multi-billion
Mm.
corporations. Like Google has a really good environment where people learn a lot. They're very productive.
Mm.
They're not forced to work overtime. I don't think like that. I think like from what I can understand from their ecosystem is they're very productive. Like if a particular department's leader will be teaching another leader in another department, things like that happens. Like this co-learning
Mm.
happening, cross-learning happening,
Mm.
things like that, right?
Oh, oh, okay.
So what happens is like people become experts in all these kind of departments and they can do this work.
Mm.
Even if one person comes, they can cross
Mm.
work each other,
Mm.
and work gets completed in a really productive manner. No one is actually forcing them to work.
Mm.
Like they hire people
Mm.
in such a fashion that people who are working there
Mm.
will figure things out to
Mm.
do the most productive way,
Mm.
and also they'll get things done in the right time too. You're not forced to work overtime.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like there are, of course, these very big or huge corporations have this kind of
Mm.
CSR and employee wellness or welfare
Mm.
policies in them, so they can't go beyond that level.
Mm.
But even then, we have the case of people recently
Mm.
in, I think, in Kerala itself, or the case was in Pune actually, where that young employee had to lose her life because she was overworked due to her manager's
Mm.
relentless pressure, like literally working overnights
Mm.
over the weekends, they had time getting
Mm.
time with their family. Eventually, that particular employee did have this kind of issue with her heart, and they did check up on her.
Mm.
But the ECG and everything came out fine. They thought she was okay. All they said was that she was not getting enough sleep.
Mm.
Like that was the first what is analysis or what do you say prescription the doctor said was like
Mm.
she's not getting enough sleep.
Mm.
Please let her sleep. You need to sleep.
Okay.
That is the main thing that doctor said.
Mm.
So that doesn't says right. Like even if you have this much stress in your life, you have all these factors that's affecting you.
Mm.
How much sleep can save your life?
Okay.
Literally, like there are studies that we have gone through as we are in the same market. We are trying to
Mm.
better people's sleep.
Mm.
That there is 45% increase in the risk of getting heart attacks, depression, anxiety attacks, and strokes
Mm.
just because you get really bad sleep.
Okay.
And India is also the second country right after Japan
Mm.
in terms of getting really bad sleep quality. Japan is the highest as we know. Like even the case of as I said about Karoshi
Mm.
that I mentioned before. Like the many issues that come along with this, like the cardiovascular complications, the
Mm.
hypertension, sleep deprivation, anxiety attacks, mental health issues. All of this happens, right? Like eventually, like all of this starts from a behavioral basis. I would say,
Mm.
like you don't get enough sleep, you start being very annoyed
Mm.
and very irritated.
Mm.
Then it builds up on you. This tension keeps building up, and last it just
Mm.
ends up with a stroke or a heart attack.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So yeah.
So I'm just confused about one thing. Like, you know, uh, is this the responsibility of the company to take care of the health of the employee, or should the employee take care of the health himself or herself?
See, I think there should be a teamwork in this particular aspect. We can't just say it's one person's fault or another person's fault, right?
Mm.
Even if like the organization has certain rules and policies regarding working hours and that and this, there might be employees within them, like managers who force the employees to work overtime over the weekends and things like that.
Mm.
So, in my understanding, the whole thing should be taken into consideration by both parties equally.
Mm.
Like the employee should understand that I have a life and I'll work to this time till this time. After that, I have my own time.
Mm.
I don't need to be taking care of work after that.
Mm.
I need to take time to take care of myself, my family,
Mm.
my social life, my personal life, things like that, right?
Mm.
we have to give importance to that. Like it's not just going to be you sitting in front of a desk and doing accounting all throughout your life.
Hmm.
You need to do things where you will earn skills
Hmm.
or learn to be better than yourself than you are yesterday.
Hmm.
So I think that personal growth and things should come into play. So for that, I think both company and the employee should work. The employer and employee should take into consideration regarding sleep,
Hmm.
recovery, things like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because they themselves can just take metrics directly on the productivity and see,
Hmm.
just take a survey and see how much people, how many of their employees are sleeping well, and
Okay.
see how much amount of work they are able to complete within a specific period of time.
Hmm.
And that analysis itself will give you a clear idea on how much impact sleep
Hmm.
can have on productivity.
Hmm.
Because having lack of sleep in employees itself, for any general human, like first thing I can notice is lack of coordination.
Hmm.
Second thing is the lack of productivity,
Hmm.
then the ability to remember
Hmm.
or like your memory goes down. Like these are the factors that comes into play, right? Eventually, like you just become so like messed up in the head that you can't perform a single or simple task.
Hmm.
So yeah, with your question, I would say it's the best to work together as an employee and an employer should work together to get the best out of all. Like the work-life balance should be done with the help of both.
Hmm.
Like in our campus itself, I think there are many companies that come, many CEOs that come and talk. One of the CEOs are like, we care for our employees so much that I'm just saying this as an instance of example, right? Where they had like, if an employee is taking dowry, they wouldn't hire them.
Ah.
It's just for the woman empowerment, woman safety, things like that, right?
Hmm.
So similarly, like if an employee is not getting enough sleep,
Hmm.
you're not going to come to work till that time.
Hmm.
Get your sleep, then come.
Hmm.
I mean, why not like implement that as a rule? I mean, there are a lot of crazy things happening in the world. I don't think taking care of your sleep is going to be sound that crazy as others.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. And that's a very good proposition. Like if we provide some sort of incentives for the employees who sleep for
Yeah.
about 8 hours daily, maybe they could get a 1% or 2% raise in their monthly salary. In that way, maybe the employees would be more uh, impressed and would be more willing to sleep rather than working overtime and doing harm to their health.
Yeah.
Hmm. Is there any company that promotes something like that? I think there was some sort of company where sleep is being promoted, right?
Can you tell me about it?
Like, was there that sleep company where sleep internship was being introduced, where all
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, wh-
Sleep company, yeah. In terms of that, I think yeah, they're promoting sleep health, good sleeping habits. I think like they are a mattress company basically. They have their own Japanese parent technology in building their own mattresses,
hmm,
and it's like a really successful company, I would say, in terms of the
hmm,
sleep industry. So what they did was introduce these kind of sleep internships where people could literally
hmm,
join in and then actively take record of how well they're sleeping.
hmm,
They would give them a questionnaire to fill
hmm,
and follow up with them every day, every week,
hmm,
and take recordings of it and then know see how well people are sleeping.
hmm.
And the best sleeper gets kind of a cash prize.
Yeah.
So that's a really unique idea, I would say. Like it was
Hmm.
like really unique and people are into it. I mean, Indians, right? Who doesn't love to sleep?
Yeah,
So
correct.
yeah. That is a great idea, great initiative, I would say.
Hmm,
And then that really stood out to even younger generations,
hmm,
even young and old.
hmm,
I would say it did not have a particular age
hmm,
group that was interested. Everyone was interested,
hmm,
from youngsters to
hmm,
senior citizens. Everyone was interested to participate in this.
hmm,
I've seen many testimonials in there where people are taking pictures of them sleeping and
hmm,
things like that, saying their sleep schedules and how it improved and they're keeping track of everything,
hmm,
how their mood, their productivity,
hmm,
their overall well-being and everything was much better when they're getting enough sleep. Yeah,
hmm,
the sleep company is one of them. I think many other brands are also coming up in India right now.
hmm,
Sleepyhead is there. Milkamil is having their own mattresses right now.
hmm,
Things there are many other brands coming up in terms of sleep industry. I think yeah.
hmm. So why do you think that sleep is being like, the sleep market is booming in this today's generation? Since sleep is a basic need,
Yeah.
now companies are focusing on sleep. Is
Yeah.
that showing that many sleep prevalent diseases are coming? So is that a solution for it?
I believe like this kind of trend, increasing trend for sleep, it should be even more. From what I am seeing in terms of statistics, people really don't care much about the sleep.
Hmm.
Globally, or if you're taking India itself,
Hmm.
India is being just second to Japan in terms of getting, lack of
Hmm.
sleep or very low quality sleep.
Hmm.
I think the best example, like what I've seen in statistics, would be Australia is having the highest number of long-term sleep or the maximum duration of sleep.
Hmm.
People who takes like a long time to sleep, let's say 7 to 8 hours,
Hmm.
those numbers are really high in Australia
Hmm.
compared to like India, where it's very low. Like India is having average, I think, 5 to 6 hours
Hmm.
from what I've seen, right?
Yeah.
And sleep is basically something that everyone should have a basic understanding of, and how sleep happens, what are the benefits we get from it,
Hmm.
or like you know, like sleep cycle itself, right?
Hmm.
It is like basically four phases. There's N1, N2, N3, and REM sleep.
Hmm.
The N1 and N2 are the light phases of sleep.
Hmm.
N3 is where you go much more deeper into a sleep, right?
Hmm.
It's much more of the almost half of the sleep cycle is N3 phase.
Hmm.
And REM, I think most people have heard about it like random eye movement.
Hmm.
That's where like very vivid dreaming and things happen. That's the
Okay.
deepest part of sleep, I would say.
Hmm.
Yeah, so this happens like a cycle, right?
Hmm.
And throughout the night, this will go on for like around 90 to 120
Hmm.
minutes. Like it will just keep
Hmm.
cycling like that. So, when people understand like where they get this kind of good quality sleep, like what is inducing this kind of sleep, is it like
Hmm.
your sleeping environment, the temperature,
Hmm.
the mattress that you're sleeping on, or the bed sheets that you're using, things like
Hmm.
that, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
People understand like how important sleep is and
Hmm.
how much your well-being is influenced by this
Hmm.
sleep itself. In my understanding, like people should look into it in much more serious tone,
Hmm.
as like people usually don't care. Like they have their phones on their hand, they sit till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock,
Hmm.
wake up at very late times or wake up early for work.
Hmm.
And they don't get that kind of time for the brain or central nervous system to
Hmm.
actually refresh or
Hmm.
replenish
Hmm.
all the energy it is
Hmm.
expending.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So I think what is your opinion on that? Like do people actually care about their sleep as much as the trend that we see in industry market? Or like is it they're trying to push it towards the Indian market?
In Indian market, most of the awareness is very less about sleep. It is very important
Yeah.
topic we have to really cover about. In America and all, the sleep market or the sleep trend is there, but in India, nobody really cares about sleep as other countries do. And it is one of the causes for so many death happening in India due to overwork. Many cases such related to sleep diseases happen because there is lack of awareness of sleep. Many people think that sleep is just a basic need, and they, as you have said, they don't really care about it. Some might think that from the lack of particular knowledge about 4 hours of sleep is enough. Would that be enough for that person is questionable. Without a statistical or complete deep medical understanding, we cannot say for one person is 4 hours of sleep enough. By listening to someone else say that 4 hours is enough. So it is very important to understand our body by ourselves and to have a clear knowledge before going for a sleep schedule which is very harmful for that person or himself. For me
Mm.
personally, I'm a deep sleeper. I can sleep in night very long, and I would need about 8 to 9 hours of sleep. I might say that since I am an entrepreneur, I might have to take only 6 hours of sleep, but that would be lying about myself. Having 8 hours of sleep is what makes me uh, go to the peak of my performance. So in the same way, Nidin might have to sleep for about 6 hours, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah, and he is a light sleeper. So from this also we can understand there are deep sleeper, light sleeper. For light sleeper, there might be different condition. Like if light comes too much, they would be disturbed, or some sort of light disturbance itself is enough for them to wake up. And the REM cycle is very short for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So, before understanding who your colleague is, who your roommates are, if you disturb them, then it is inadvertently harming them. So in the same way, our family members would have a deep sleeper, night sleeper, and without enough understanding of what type of sleep or what type of sleep is required, if we treat them like normal humans, then definitely in a longer run, many sleep related issues would come. So before India have the same trend of sleep diseases, it is better that some sort of awareness is being spread to these people so that more sleep related care would be given. After all, prevention is better than cure, right?
Definitely, definitely. I agree with that a lot. Especially when you said about the light sleeper and deep sleeper part, like yeah, it's 100%. Like you are a deep sleeper and like you can sleep really well throughout the night.
Hmm.
Like you don't get disturbed, you don't wake up in between, things like that. I am someone who wakes up even with a slightest noise, right? I hear a small noise and I'm up. I don't know, it's just like that kind of maybe when I'm too stressed too, I think when I'm like sleeping really bad, like I
Hmm.
can wake up when I hear a slight noise or when I'm like mildly irritated due to some kind of, anything like the electricity people should be gone off or anything, any kind of noise or something.
Hmm.
And one thing I noticed is like when actually speaking about it, like in all honesty, like when I used our own like organic bed sheets where we did not use any chemicals on them and they were
Hmm.
completely made naturally,
Hmm.
and this thing like literally helped me sleep so well. Like I don't know, like the room temperature was higher in
Hmm.
terms, like I would say the actual bed sheets were really cool, very cooler than much the room temperature was in. So what happened is like I like literally as in a cocoon. So I just wanted to see how our bed sheets are like working, right?
Hmm.
So I'm sleeping in it, and then I'm seeing I'm literally sleeping in like a cocoon, and I'm feeling so relaxed, right? I'm so relaxed, and it's so cool. Like throughout the body, the temperature is being regulated so well. I feel,
Hmm.
and I could just sleep so well. Like I can literally feel my body going just like that. I'm in sleep. Usually, it doesn't take that. Like sometimes I try to focus and sleep, and it doesn't happen right. You have to like fall into sleep. You can't just be like focusing into sleep. So if you think about I want to sleep, I want to sleep, I want to sleep, it's not going to work. But
Hmm.
when I use the particular bed sheets and eye mask too, the eye mask too are great because I was someone who did not get any dreams for past few months. The moment I use these things and I'm seeing dreams all of a sudden.
Hmm.
And when I looked into it, you only see dreams when you go into the REM sleep
Hmm.
or the REM phase of your sleep
Hmm.
cycle. And the REM phase should come only if you have good quality
Hmm.
sleep. So that directly implies that when you actually care about the surroundings of sleep environment,
Hmm.
the kind of bed sheets you're using,
Hmm.
the mattress, any kind of accessories like eye mask
Hmm.
or whatever that is going to give you this kind of boost your sleep, right? Boost your sleep
Hmm.
quality. You'll definitely feel it. Trust me. Like
Hmm.
don't care about money, just spend some on these particular things
Hmm.
that are genuine, you will definitely see a difference in your sleep cycle, your overall well-being, and everything.
Hmm.
100% for sure. That's my personal experience. Like, and I have my friends too. I have made them use the eye mask and asked them,
Hmm.
literally, especially in the hostel settings and everything. Like when we share a room,
Hmm.
people wake up at different times. They have different,
Hmm.
jobs or assignments or things coming up, and they have to maybe work all night or wake up early.
Hmm.
But when you use our products like the eye mask and everything, you're sleeping like a baby. You don't know.
Hmm.
You actually don't know if they're waking up. There's no, you don't know if they're making any noise, if the lights are on.
Hmm.
Like, your mind is so cut off from that and you're just in this deep sleep state.
Hmm.
And I'm happy that we could actually find products like this that can actually give
Hmm.
a good sleep
Hmm.
to anybody who buys it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely my opinion like this for light sleepers or people with any kind of sleeping disorders, any kind of sleep issues,
Hmm.
definitely try out organic fabrics.
Yeah.
Right. We have them, we sell them, but I'm just saying, like, if you haven't used it, try using it. It's from anywhere, right? It will definitely help you. For sure.
Yeah, I'm curious about one thing. Like, since you are light sleeper, I don't know, but is being like having no clothes and sleeping directly in a bed is much better, or having clothes and sleeping? Does it matter if you have clothes or not for sleep?
Me, regarding clothes, I would say it's like, I don't like to sleep with shirt on,
Hmm.
definitely, because usually, generally, it gets hot, right, when you're sleeping. I feel like something kind of maybe some metabolic activity is
Hmm.
happening that makes me feel really hot. So
Hmm.
I would rather have my shirt off and then sleep like that. As
Hmm.
and also like people who sleep naked are there,
Hmm.
which is also really nice, I think. But I would not go around that because you're sharing rooms and things like that. It will
Hmm.
be difficult. And you're sleeping alone, of course, maybe you could try that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that, I think in a way, if you're not wearing anything that is restricting or like very tight to your skin,
Hmm.
it will definitely help you to sleep in a much smoother way.
Smoother way. I
Like if
see.
you're wearing clothes that are like very tight to your body, right?
Hmm.
That will like it's not very discomforting. It's not going to create a kind of environment where you can sleep peacefully.
Hmm.
Definitely, like you might wake up in between and
Hmm.
you might feel very sweaty. You'll feel like it's itching and irritated and things like that. Wear loose clothes, sleep peacefully. That's what I would recommend. Yeah.
Yeah. For me personally, like even if you put a sweater over me, I can sleep if there is some sort
Yeah.
of fan.
I've seen that. I've seen you literally slept in sweaters and everything. And I'm like, wow, how is he doing
Yeah.
this?
In the same way, how much does when how was your sleep when you took a bath before going to sleep, or even with, I mean to say, like, does having a bath before going to sleep affect the quality of the sleep, or it hasn't much effect on you?
From what I've read, I would say it's like having a a medium cold bath, like a medium cold bath would definitely help you sleep better, like a full on bath, like
Hmm.
you wash your head
Hmm.
and your body and everything, it'll definitely help you sleep better as it lowers your body temperature.
Hmm.
As the body temperature drops down a bit, your heart rate's got down a bit,
Hmm.
you're all, things just goes into this kind of very relaxed mode, right?
Hmm.
So you get a better sleep out of it. For me personally, yes, I do feel like having a bath before sleeping definitely helps
Hmm.
me sleep better. But most of the time, I do not do it like that because I don't like to bath at night.
Hmm.
Like I might get sick all the time or something like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, times when I'm feeling it's too hot, I'm feeling very irritated. Definitely, I would get a bath and sleep
Hmm.
for that. Like it definitely helps sleep. Bringing your body temperature down is like a huge factor in getting good quality sleep.
Hmm.
That is definitely there. Like for example, people who don't have ACs or air conditioners,
Hmm.
they probably would be sleeping after getting a bath. Like I heard like from my friends itself, many of them shared like most of them like even when I shared in my hostels
Hmm.
during UG time, right? When under graduation time, like people with me, they might actually bath twice or thrice.
Hmm.
I'm like, bro, why do you bath all the time?
Hmm.
Like they wake up and they bath, and then afternoon they bath, then before sleeping they bath, and
Hmm.
I'm like, bro, I can't sleep without getting my hair wet or getting my
Hmm.
body cool down.
Hmm.
And it makes sense, right? Depends on different body, different kind of nature you are in, right?
Hmm.
Different kind of body nature that you have and
Hmm.
things like that. Yeah. What about you? Do you think like I mean, bathing before sleeping, especially in cold water, helps in your sleeping?
Yeah, for me, I would prefer not to have a bath, because after having a bath, body temperature definitely goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I am very like prone to get sick very easily if body temperature goes down after sleep. Like blood is flowing a little bit slower, right?
Yeah.
So after sleeping like that, I get cold, coughs and all. Maybe because I also use, I have fan over my head. The air air is also circulating. So in a way, I would prefer to have a bath and then go to sleep. Yes, definitely. If there is no sleep coming, body is too much in heat, I would definitely go to have a bath and then sleep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if my body is in normal condition, I would not go to have a bath and then sleep.
I see.
Hmm.
So regarding the topic that we are discussing regarding how to have this work-life balance, right? How can we actually have a work-life balance in this kind of situation where we are like, where every corporate is pushing into,
Hmm.
having us work overtime and work over
Hmm.
the weekends and things like that,
Hmm.
right? What would you suggest? Like, what is your thought in having this kind of clear work-life balance? Like, what would you suggest to a person who is a fresher?
Hmm. Work-life balance, first we have to understand the priority. Like, if you're a person who needs money and eh, your family also needs it, like your condition is that you have to work to have money, then the work-life balance is a sure need for you. And when such sort of situation happens, before getting a job, you have to understand whether you like that job or not. That is one of the important factor. If you like
Mm.
that job and you feel comfortable under the job, like for example, if you are a content writer, like you want to write content and you love to write contents, then you are sitting in front of the computer working for more than 10 hours, you might not feel tired.
Yeah.
And the hormones in your body is working in your favor, like sort of like happiness hormone and all. Even if you then sleep later on, the body would help you to recover. But generally, after having a 1 month or 2 month, have a break, have the recovery process to make the body into peak condition, then go to work again, then definitely that sort of work life could be much better for you. It's for content creator where you have to sit in front of the computer and write. The same for the condition like you are not a content creator. You are not made to be a content creator, and then you are sitting in the front of computer thinking about what sort of topic should I write. Those words are coming into the keyboard. Then definitely the stress would affect you, and even if you try to sleep, the work pressure would affect you. So the quality sleep would not be happening for you, and more you don't like your work, the more procrastination will be happening, and definitely the work will keep on increasing and increasing, and it would be like a rat race where you have to complete a task and then move on to next task. So for me, work-life balance should be like first criteria would be does do you like your job? If you like your job, then definitely you can do some extra hours and then do the recovery. And if you do not like your job, then make sure that when you reach a target money, you can shift to another one rather than continuing in a job you do not like. That is one advice I could give. The second advice I could give is like if the condition is like that you cannot quit your job anytime in longer time, make sure that you take regular breaks. Even if you have it mm, afternoon nap, it would be very helpful for the body. Uh, that is for work-life balance. I have there are many solutions, but I have taken this particular condition and I told you about it. Do you think that having an afternoon nap would be a very good solution for work-life balance?
I definitely think like in terms of like employees, definitely it could make a game changer for them, right?
Hmm.
They have their own lunch breaks and maybe some kind of 5 minutes breaks in between and things like that. But giving them this time for having an afternoon nap, that changes the whole game.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know if they take a nap or not, but that will definitely give them this chance to just
Hmm.
take a breath, right? Take a breathe, relax, maybe listen to music, try to just. There are instances where I heard like people just take a quick nap, like
Hmm.
maybe 10 to 15 minutes. They have their own like eye mask and things like that. Cut off the lights, they sleep like a power nap, and then they're like
Hmm.
set.
Set. Yeah.
Yeah, like they are their own creativity flowing into it. They are much higher productivity than people who doesn't
Hmm.
take nap, right?
Hmm.
So if we take the instance of like schools, right? In schools in China and everywhere, they literally give students after each period a certain amount of time to take a nap.
Hmm.
Probably the lower grades, but still I think that affects them in a great way in terms of
Hmm.
creativity,
Hmm.
building their character, building their, whole productivity nature,
Hmm.
right? Because kids don't have that kind of focus in them. They're not going to sit there and listen to a teacher
Hmm.
trying to teach them multiplication tables or division
Hmm.
for like hours on end. They have maximum like what 10 or 15 minutes of attention spans. I don't think even that's there.
Hmm.
So forcing them to just sit there in that particular bench or table and then asking them to focus for hours and hours on end is not going to happen.
Hmm.
So it's better to understand, right, what they're going to be. So similarly, that's why I think China implemented that kind of rules where they are allowed to take nap.
Hmm.
Daily, they can sleep on top of the bench or something, have a proper sleep. I think their entire, I think, sitting arrangement in such a way that they can sleep well and things like that
Hmm.
too. So similarly, I would say even in work or in employees' life, giving them an afternoon nap would definitely change the game.
Hmm.
Like that would be super.
Hmm.
Like giving some kind of care or attention to the employees in this kind of aspect will make them want to work harder for
Hmm.
the company. Is what I believe.
Hmm.
Like when you're not really caring about if they're sleeping or not, or they don't care, you want
Hmm.
the things get done.
Hmm.
Like they're not going to feel like working for you.
Hmm.
The moment they feel like employees are like, okay, this company or this manager actually cares about my well-being, then I'll definitely work this for you. At least my work will be honest,
Hmm.
for sure. It's not going to try and like curse us in the mind and like
Hmm.
be like, oh, this guy is not giving me like half a second of free time. Like for God's sake, let me just take a breather or something. But no, when you actually give them the space to think or the space to just calm down and then come back and do the work, I'm pretty sure almost 90% of the time they do much better than before.
Hmm.
Like productivity shoots off the roof. Definitely, that's what I'm thinking. Like giving them nap time will definitely be productive in that case. Yeah.
Okay. So Nidin, the time constraint is happening. Can you tell me about the productivity tips which could be helping for the work-life balance?
Okay, so like in my personal opinion, like I would say when we started the entrepreneurship journey or entrepreneurial journey or whatever,
Hmm.
me and Ajit we are working really hard. Like I don't know, like even into like 2 or 3 in the night or like I said morning.
Hmm.
Things like that, right? There are instances where we had B2B meetings and I had to work over the full night. Like entire night I had to work, sit on doing presentations and finding
Hmm.
like all the details, etc. But after a point you become burnout. No matter what, if you're a human, you will feel burned out.
Hmm.
So, in my opinion, it's like, yes, there will be cases where you're feeling very responsible, like everything is on your shoulders about your family, your career, your future, things like that. You might be worried. That's just very normal to feel at a particular age, right?
Hmm.
You have to understand, like, the more you're going to work doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get the most result out of it.
Hmm.
I think, in my opinion, it's like the best way to think about it is like to think like a lion, right? Basically, how a lion is like, it will take rest most of the time when there's no need for it. Like
Hmm.
when it's taking rest, it is taking rest, like paka.
Hmm.
If it's taking rest, it's taking rest really nicely. Like it's sleeping the way it wants in a cool shade or whatever. But when it's on the hunt, right? When it's on the hunt,
Hmm.
there's no other predator that come close to it. Like it's active as hell. It's going there to go after it, get the job done. Like that's what I'm thinking. You should either be in those two sectors. You not be like working yourself tirelessly throughout the entire week, months.
Hmm.
We both have stayed like that. We both have stayed throughout the sem breaks or whatever. We have stayed in hostel for continuous 3 to 4 months, worked every single day of the month and everything. But after a point, you definitely feel that burnout, right? And then you feel lack of motivation and everything.
Hmm.
So finding the balance would be to like, when you take rest itself.
Hmm.
Like don't try to overcomplicate things, right? Try to keep things as simple as possible, right? You know what you like in life.
Hmm.
You know what your goals are in life.
Hmm.
Work on your goals when you're working on them 100%, like full send.
Hmm.
And when you're taking rest, take rest. That's it. Like,
Ah.
that's all I have to say. What about you? What is your final tips or any kind of suggestion from your side on that?
For me, sleep is a necessity. It is not option for me. Even if you do work, even if you do not do work, you have to take rest.
Yeah,
For from my side, the productivity tip or the thought I would give is life goes on. To live a day, you need to have rest. So whether the day is bad, whether the day is good, it doesn't matter. When the time for sleep comes, just sleep. That's what I would like to say.
exactly. That's it. Just sleep. Yeah. I don't think like they can phrase it better than that. Honestly, like that's what people like forget, right? When they're working in these strenuous environments, especially in work, and people are forcing them to meet deadlines and submit reports, like they just forget that they are human beings, right?
Hmm.
Their body needs that rest, that recovery. That is how we work. We can't change the way we work and say that we are robots. That's not going to happen. At least maybe in a couple of years where robots come and take over our jobs or whatever. But still, at least while you're working, make sure that you know that you are a human and you need your own space, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think that's about it, right, Ayut?
yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. So thanks for whoever is tuning into this, and yeah, I hope like you guys got a clear, at least a bit of ideas regarding how important sleep is and the effects that we get during when you're not getting this kind of good quality sleep.
Hmm,
So yeah, we will be continuing this podcast almost every day for the coming 2 3 weeks. Let's see how it goes.
hmm.
So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.